actually maybe spiraling a little bit out of control. Like I was very in an anxiety state. Yeah, because my confinement nanny was going back soon.
Hello ladies, I'm Elf. Welcome back to the 9th episode of Unfiltered Femmes. The objective of this talk show is to provide a platform to openly discuss and normalize topics that are often considered as taboo or uncomfortable. So by doing so, we can encourage open dialogue and create a safe space for women to share their experiences, concerns and questions. Over to you, Willing.
Alright, so for our 9th episode of the Unfiltered Femmes, we'll be talking about a topic that many of us ladies can relate, or I would say moms can relate to, being a supermum. So we have invited Ms Trixie, the founder of Buy Invite Only, to share her insights on how she juggles the demands of motherhood while running a very thriving business. So let us give a warm welcome to Trixie. Welcome, Trixie.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Alright, so Trixie, could you share a little bit more about yourself, your motherhood journey, and a little bit of your business as well?
Okay, so I'm the founder of Buy Invite Only Jewelry. So we are an omni-channel brand. So we sell online as well as in stores. So total now we have 7 physical stores in Singapore. I would say this mom journey is still quite new for me. I only started like 3 months ago. I mean, I was
just 3 months old. This is turning 3 months.
I mean, I was a parent. I don't know whether that helps. I have 2 dogs and a cat, but it's a completely different ball game when it comes to like having a child. So I've only like maybe gave birth 3 months ago. Actually, my son is turning 3 months exactly like this week. So I think when they approached me, I was just like, I'm only like 1 month into this. Like, am I like qualified to give any like kind of like maybe just more like to share my experience, talk about it so far. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for your introduction, Trixie. Yeah, it's really great to have you on board, on the 9th episode. And congratulations on your 7th store in Tampines.
Thank you.
And of course, your newly upgraded mom status.
Yes.
So we are really excited, to hear your sharing on how you try to balance work and motherhood, and also to debunk the supermom stigma. As you know, like one of the goals to challenge gender inequality, which often reinforces traditional roles and expectations, such as the belief that primarily women is a women's responsibility, right, to be a caregiver, a homemaker, rather than being
a business woman.
Or being at work. So Trixie, like, what's your take on this?
I think it's very tricky because it depends on your family situation as well.
Right.
Because like it depends on like who has the job that is like bringing in the bread.
Okay.
Is that the same?
Like who brings in
the breadwinner?
The more income is
Yeah. So if the mom is the one who is the breadwinner, then you can't just say like, oh, she should like stop working and so on, because there are certain obligations that you have. But for my situation, my husband is also working in the company as well. So actually, he's my maternity cover. So I can't say like, oh, if I go back to work and then you stay at home, but actually he also needs to work because he is also working in the company. So I think our situation is a bit more unique. I have to say that it was one of the most challenging things for me. I don't know whether you remember, but like I texted you on like maybe at my 4th week, and I was just saying like, hey, how do you do it when you had your son? Like, how do you go back to working? And I wanted to get some advice, but what you actually maybe don't know is I was actually maybe spiraling a little bit out of control. Like I was very in an anxiety state. Yeah, because my confinement nanny was going back soon. So I was thinking like, oh dear, like my husband is actually my maternity cover, so he's not really at home. I do have a helper, and at that time I'm not sure even whether my mom is going to be helping me, or like we haven't had that arrangement set in stone yet. So I was just thinking like, oh dear, how am I going to be going back to work? But I want to be at home, but I
you also want to be at work.
Yeah, so I think what really helped was you telling me that it's really hard, and you gave me some advice on what you did. But I think what was the most important thing that made me like, okay, calm down, was you saying that it was really very hard for you as well. And I guess I felt like I was
normal.
not alone.
Yeah.
Or like, okay, this is hard. So let me, like, it's not something like unique to me, and so many people have worked it out. So like I can maybe take a step back and so my stance is there is no right or wrong. If you really want to go back to work, it's what you want, and what you want is the most important, because your mental health, and you telling me also like ultimately going to work brings you joy, and it's your passion, right? It's your brand, and there's a lot of people in your team that is relying on you as well, and you want to be seen as someone who is responsible, someone who takes pride in your work, and that doesn't change the moment you become a mom, but you have different set of circumstances.
Right.
You have to work as a team with your husband, firstly.
That is for sure.
So that's my stance, that you have to communicate and work together with your husband or your family or your support group. Have nothing like left unsaid. Because if you feel very 委屈, like you feel like
you're the only one
like that can stay at home because you're breastfeeding and your child needs you. There's no one else that can take care of the child as well as you. You just want to be at home. That is good enough a reason. You don't have to feel like, hey, why my husband can go to work? Like everything is normal for him. He can go to work. He doesn't have that guilt. But how come I have all this guilt? How come So I think it's more like, even just saying that out loud is very helpful.
Right.
Yeah. So working together with your partner as a team, knowing that you will get out of the tunnel if you work together and try to figure out, maybe you try this method, it doesn't work, then you can keep reiterating.
Right.
So doesn't mean that you going back to work this week. Next week you cannot change as well. So it's like just exploring the options.
Right. So like
figuring out together as a partnership.
Yes, you're right. Having a child is actually a partnership between the husband and the wife. It's definitely not just the mom's role, the wife's role to take care like 100% of the child needs, whereas the dad just bring in money, the financial part, right? I think caring for the child physically, emotionally together as a 50-50 share, I think that really helps, to balance out whatever that we are feeling right now. Again, it's also to beat the social stigma that only mom can take care of the child well, only we need the mom, we actually don't need the dad goes out to work, these are all like very traditional thinking already, right? So I think that's the first thing. Second, I think like what you mentioned also is the open communication. I think that's important, because it's not like, oh, I decided on this and then your partner thinks that okay, it's fine, and then it will work out, because like just now we are talking about it, right? Our child keeps changing as they grow. He or she grows, and the needs, they also changes as time goes. So that open communication has to be left open. So it's definitely not like, what I've shared with you would also work for you. You need to go and find your own sweet spot. Right?
Different
and then
families have different.
Correct. And then figure out what works.
Have different needs.
Yes, correct, and figure out like what works best for you. And I think one point to share is that I also remember telling you that yes, we need to spend time with our child, but then if we say that okay, we're going to segment 100% of our time for our child, I'm very sure we won't feel whole as a person. Because not only we own the brand, but we love what we are doing, and I think that keeps our sanity. That keeps us going, and so that time when we are actually off at work, right, we can take time off from our child a little bit, give ourselves, some breathing time to do what we really love, and when we are done with that, when we go back to our child, right, we actually can reignite that feeling. So, I didn't see you for the past 6 hours, I kind of miss you, you know that feeling. Rather than if the child, of course, newborn, etc., or different stages in your child life, sometimes they will like keep crying because they want milk. I mean, crying is their source of communication, right? We cannot blame them, but adults, right, sometimes you're like, oh, why are you crying again? That kind of mental stress, and especially for new mom, you're not used to the crying,
constantly figuring out like, what are you trying to tell me?
Yes. Are you hungry? Stomach pain? Or did you can't poo? That kind of thing. So I thought that being able to really truly understand what we are looking for really helps us to really segment our time.
Sometimes you don't really know what you want also.
True.
Or you think that you want certain things, or you commit to that plan, you find out that actually that doesn't seem to work.
Right.
So I think it's just having the mindset that just keep adapting, be flexible to change, not be afraid to make mistakes.
New moms or mums?
Yes.
Mums, yeah. We what we really truly want, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, we're all different individuals. We look at, things differently. I mean, I do have like friends, cause of having a child, she gave up her job. Mm-hmm. She feel like, okay, now I have like, my child is like, something that I really want to focus on, so she gave up. So there is actually no right and wrong in this. It's really what is your preference and what makes you happy as a person, right? I think that's the most important
thing.
Yeah, it's the most important thing, right? Yeah.
And also like talking about like just now Evelyn was talking about like finding the right, perfect balance, correct? So like as you a new mom and also the founder of Buy Invite Only, how do you like find the right balance between work and family?
Having the right support system helps me. One thing that I didn't realize that I would feel is that I have this very big FOMO when my child is being carried by someone else. This is very normal, right? But I didn't realize that I will feel it so strongly. So I have a really, really great helper, and my mom is very, very excited and happy to help me with my son. And I'm very grateful for their help. So simple things like showering, or like even when I'm pumping or having lunch, dinner, I really appreciate that someone else is taking the child away from me so that I can refresh myself, like nourish my body and
like
take a break. But then at the same time, when I'm pumping in the room, or like I feel FOMO, like I want to be with my child, like, hey, why is he making that sound? Hey, am I missing milestones and stuff like that? So then I realized that why this major FOMO like happening? It's all in my head, so I still have to shower, I still have to eat, so I still have to take a break. My first month, I gave my son to my confinement nanny a lot because I wanted to make sure that, I want to rest.
Yeah.
If I have a well-rested month, then maybe I can go back to work faster. So that was what I thought. But it's not true lah. Like I think month 2 or month 3, I'm just starting to get out of that fog I was telling you. I'm not as tired anymore. I'm able to have a better hang of like pumping, breastfeeding, and everything.
Yeah.
But at that time, there's no way for me to go back right to work. Like at week 5 or week 6, I feel so tired and everything. Back to your question, like how do I find the balance? I think I need to tell myself that it's okay, like when someone is holding my baby. I need to tell myself like it's okay to not be with my baby all the time. And I need to first talk to myself. If I can't even get a grip of what I'm thinking in my head, I can't get to that balance stage. So I feel that laying the foundation of talking to yourself and always checking with yourself like, hey, why you are feeling this way, and maybe if you have someone to talk to, maybe someone that you like, I text you and then I get some advice, or sometimes my husband can't help me because he's not a mom, so he don't understand. So I try to talk to my other friends like, is this normal? Like you feel this way? And is this correct? What my confinement nanny is doing? So I think having a support and then making sure that I am always checking myself. When I get to a point where like, okay, I'm calm, then I can get to the point where I make a better decision for my child, my work. There are certain obligations that I cannot say no. So, for example, going back to the office at week 5, I was really back in the office for like 1 or 2 days. Not every week, but that was the first time I got out of my confinement and maternity, and then because we had to interview someone and I wanted to be there in person. So there are certain things I will not compromise, but other things like having catch-ups with my team, or like I dial back a lot. So trusting my team, let's say if you're working with someone else, trusting your co-workers is very important. I think it's a time where you really cannot micromanage. I'm not saying that you should be a micromanager. There are certain details that, as a brand founder, like the product, the shops. I opened Tampines 1 when I was doing my maternity. I had a lot of help. So I didn't know what the shop will look like. So when I go to the opening, right, it's like as if like I'm seeing it for the first time as well. So I'm just like, oh my god, what is this? This one, what is this? Then I don't like this. I cannot pick at it because it's my husband and my team that
made the decision.
So I'm just like, no, it's not how I would like to do it, but I'm grateful that I had the help. So trusting my team really helped me with the balance. And I would say I'm very, very lucky to have a very stable team. They are very mindful of my time, very respectful, and they always make sure that, I don't want to disturb you, I'm very sorry, but this is very urgent. So before my confinement, I actually told them like, don't paiseh, don't like feel shy. If the shop is on fire, you need to call me. Don't like the whole shop burn down already. Then like, I'm sorry, I don't want to disturb you. Like, no, please call me if you feel lost or like you feel unsure about something, just call me. If I'm not free to pick up your call, I'll just miss your call. So don't worry.
Right.
Second in line is call my husband. So don't worry to disturb us. Giving them the expectation like, okay, when can they disturb you, when cannot, and don't get upset when they disturb you and all that. So
are you still kind of like worried, like, you know, because since you are like during maternity, then you're not overlooking things, and then family's one is happening. Actually, how do you feel inside you?
Because you're saying that you're quite FOMO. You're quite a FOMO person. Like if you are left out on all this, you're like, oh my god, what is it? What's
that's why the setup, right? I went to set up, but everyone had a role to do. I just standing there like, 我做什么? What should I do? But then I just make myself busy. I try to like help them. But they never assign a role for me, so I wanted to go there for like moral support, also like to see what is happening and just check, don't just MIA the whole entire process. I guess it's quite shock.
I think so.
Like it's the first.
I'm trying to imagine if
it's
I'm
the first
you.
shock.
Yeah.
That I never
take part in any of the like, decision, the planning, and how it turned out.
I did comment on the design of the store, but my retail team at the time also helped me a lot with the like, where do you want the drawers to be. I think look and feel, I made a lot of comments, but when they started to build the company that just took it and ran with it lah. So and then my husband also like signed off for all the measurements and all that, and he went there to oversee some of the like CCTV installation or whatever. So I would say it's quite.
Actually, I think you should feel proud.
I feel very grateful for the time that I'm able to rest. I wasn't too worried, to be honest. Very, very grateful.
But maybe is it because your husband is there also, so you feel a little bit more
relieved, more
secure,
more trusted.
Maybe, but there are certain things that he will not be sure of as well. Maybe with the merchandising or with like. Yeah, but he does really well with the contractors and so on, like the renovation, so he's very familiar with that.
Right.
But what I don't get in return, right, is the paternity leave that he's taking, because he's my maternity cover.
Okay.
So there's a very funny thing. Like, I'm very happy that I can just rest and like, everyone just like settles everything. But at the same time, there's a flip side. So for a short moment of time, I do feel resentful. Like, I can't even enjoy my maternity like a normal employee. I cannot enjoy like my husband to take paternity like a normal employee as well. Like, so when like even the first 2 weeks, right, he's not really at home. Yeah, so I mean, I do like, of course he was there with me in the hospital, and then he was there with me like when we went home and everything, but he made sure that I was settled already. Then he's like, okay, I need to go 3-on-3, I need to go like Ion, blah blah blah. For me, I'm like, I don't need my husband to be here for a certain thing. But I just wanted someone to be there so that I can, you know, feel not so alone in this whole process. Yeah, because it was the confinement lady at home, my helper as well. I have a lot of help. But then I feel like my best friend,
your husband to be there.
So then but then his thinking is like, but you are like, you have so much help at home, like I thought you're settled already. Then I'm just like, but I feel sometimes like I'm navigating this alone. Then my helper also waiting for me to give instruction. Then the nanny is also asking me questions. Then I'm just like, then I have to decide myself. But it's like you say, it's a 50-50. So I'm like, okay, should I wait for my husband to come back before we make this decision, or should I just go ahead? You know, there are certain times that I feel like no choice. That is just the way it is.
Sometimes I do feel that, I mean, not just about, you know, having a new child, you know, sometimes we might like, you know, we will feel like, why am I going through this, I'm just feeling like upset about it. I got this way to help me to switch out of it, is that every time when I feel bad or when I feel unhappy, I will tell myself positive things, and I will change my narrative to, I get to do this. Because I get to do this, other people don't get to do this, you know? And I need to appreciate that I get to do this. So if you think on the high side, right, you will think that, oh, maybe I cannot, you know, be like a normal employee to enjoy maternity like her, but I get to right? So I think that really helps us to frame our thinking and get out of the dark zone.
There's no perfect scenario. And I think it's a give and take. So you just have to be, this is your situation, you just have to be okay with it.
When I just gave birth, right, my thinking was a little bit different. My thinking was, I can't wait to get back to work. I need to get out. I need like a breather. I need some time away from my son to have some space, on my own, and then I just focus on my work. And then I'm just like every time when I get out for work, right, I feel that, wow, that's like a relief for me for a while. Like, let me recalibrate my thoughts, and then my whole mental framework is like, okay, now there's like at least break out from the crying. I think the crying also sort of gave me a lot of stress. Right. Because sometimes when you do not know why the baby is crying and the baby cannot stop crying, very lost.
Yeah.
Like, you do not know what to do.
Yeah.
With the baby, you carry, cry, you put down, you cry, you change diaper, cry, everything, cry, give me also cry. That kind of situation. But actually when we are at work, right, we don't really face that kind of situation. Yeah. It's like, okay, we know the solution, let's try this. Okay, this doesn't work, we try this. We can switch around very fast. But when we are handling a human,
you feel like very incompetent, right?
Yeah, correct.
But at work, you feel very productive and then incompetent, and you're very efficient.
There's always, it always seems like there is always a solution to something.
Yeah.
But when we are handling a baby, it's like, no, why are you crying again? Help me. Then I'll call my mom. What's happening? Oh, I said, maybe 肚子有风. Okay, put oil. Can. Maybe cannot put. Okay, we try. Everything we will keep trying. Okay, finally, maybe we found the reason and stop crying. Yeah. So to me, like actually going to work was like my escape. And then, but every time when I escape, when I'm home, like, oh, I miss you, I miss my baby, and then reconnected. I thought that kind of like fluctuations in feelings, kind of like balance everything for me, for myself. Now, the next question. So how do you personally, right, like navigate managing your business responsibilities while also caring for your baby? Like right now, you mentioned that you are slowly going back to work, like maybe once or twice a week, right?
Yeah.
But how do you still like juggle? Do you feel like when you're at work, you're thinking about your baby? Like when I'm carrying baby, suddenly I think about my work. Oh, I need to write a note. That kind of thing.
I have to say, when I'm at work, right, I don't think about my baby.
You're very
But when I take a break, then I'll start thinking of my baby. I'll start taking out his photos, or because like I'll take a break to come, or I'll take a break to eat lunch, or eat lunch and pump at the same time. Then I'll start to
scroll
look
through,
at photos, and then I'll talk to my husband. Do you miss our son? Then he's like, why so random? Then I'll start. Then my husband will say, you're obsessed. Then I'm like, it's good what that I'm obsessed. I'm his mom. So I would say like when I'm at work, I'm very focused at work. Then when I'm at home and when I'm interacting with him, I try to just focus on him.
Yeah.
Unless he's sleeping, of course, and I'm petting him to sleep. Okay, I use my phone. Interacting with him, I try to
be more focused.
Yeah, like 100% of my attention, I try to give it to him. Okay, then a phone call comes. I'm like, okay, can you help me with my son? Like I will pass my son to my helper. I will be on that phone call. So I think it's taking turns. Because my helper also needs to take a break, or she has other responsibilities as well. So then I'm like, okay, never mind, let me take my son, and you can take a break. I think it's helping each other. You need a village to raise a kid. It's just like helping each other to let's cover each other
and doing it together. Yes.
So it's not really like between this time is your job. Or
absolutely
these are your tasks. Then like how come you asking me to do it?
Yeah. Because it's really about like compartmentalizing our time. When we are this time is like for our work. We try to be 100% focused on our work, and then when we compartmentalize this time for our child, we try to. But we are all humans, right?
Yes.
You cannot always be that 100% on the dot. Sometimes when the call comes or a text comes in, we need to do that switch.
Yeah. When the child is older, I feel it might be more difficult because
I feel so.
Your child might ask you like, why are you not paying attention to me?
Oh, yes.
I feel that is coming. I have no experience at the moment. I feel that is even going to be more tough. Like how can you show your child that no, work is not more important than you, but at this time, mommy has a responsibility and you have to take responsibility for your work and the things that you are assigned to do. You have to take pride with the work.
Yes, I think explaining the reason to your child on why you're doing certain things is important, because as much as we think that they might not understand at their age, but actually they do. Yeah, and in return, right, I feel that they will respect your time more. Because my son is 4 years old, so I will always tell him that why am I doing my work, and then after I finish this work, I will give you my undivided attention. And then he knows that, okay, now I can't disturb my mom because
but you must mean what you say also.
Yes, I must mean. what I say. So there was once I was supposed to pick him up after school. I promised him in the morning, but I couldn't because that day we had some issue at work. I was so guilty. That day I video called my mom. I told my mom I need a video call, and then I apologized to myself. I said, I'm so sorry, Fuji. Mommy's supposed to pick you up today, but I couldn't because of these reasons. But I'll make it up to you. I'll come to you tomorrow, okay? Then I apologize to you. Yeah, because I think also in older generations, right? Like maybe like our parents' age, they don't believe in apologizing to your child. They think that they are always they are not that they are always right, but they are because they are 长辈.
Maybe very hierarchy.
Yes, quite very hierarchy. But I thought that respect comes both ways. And then when you are able to acknowledge that you did something wrong and you tell your son like right up front, tell your child up front, they will be able to feel it. And so that in future when they do something wrong, they will know that mom can do it, why can't I? So I think this is part of like upbringing also. And like telling them the values values. Even until now, juggling time has always been a challenge. Has always been
I think
a
it will
challenge.
never be a problem to solve.
Yes.
It's just something that you need to manage and have open communication with either your child or your spouse.
Yes. And I think the mom's guilt is also stays very strong. Me and my husband, we don't go on trips really after my child. Then my friend asked me, my friend was telling me you should go. Have some time with your husband. Your husband is like your another child. You need to give him time also, your child is now not your just one child, you need to give.
You can't neglect your husband.
Yes, can't neglect my husband. I say cannot, I cannot separate with my child already because I'm like already separated with him during work, and then I think that I should be there. But my friend told me this, and she said that only if you start taking care of yourself and your husband, then you can start taking care of yourself. Then I'm like, okay, that's kind of true, because if we are not in the correct mental state, we always have things that we are unhappy about, and then we can't even make time for ourselves. How can we give our 100% to our child, right?
A healthy marriage or partnership will mirror the right positive values that you want to pass down to your child as well. So then he or she will know this is how a happy marriage is. Maybe sometimes they are also arguing, but after that mommy and daddy always make up, or they will apologize to each other, or they don't get worse and worse. So sometimes also looking at how you handle arguments or difficulties also, I think it helps a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
And then Trixie, I know you have been very busy, amidst all of the hustlings and bustlings, right? How do you carve time out for your self-care? Do you go for your facials nowadays? Do you do manicure, pedicure, or how do you do your self-care?
I think the first month self-care is having longer shower, wash your hair, simple things. I think I didn't do my mani or pedi for damn long. So I remember week 5 or week 6, I'm just okay, I am gonna ramp up to go back to work soon. So let me just go and do my nails. There's a window of time where I go out the house without having to call my mom for help. And I also maybe pack lunch together. I will go out to a cafe to have lunch. After that I go for the mani or pedi, and then I go home. So just maybe short bursts of 2 to 3 hours. That I need to go back to pump anyway.
But it's good, right? At least that 2 to 3 hours.
You got your own time, your own time, right?
Yes. I think small things, small joys that all
helps. The overall mood of the day, and then it's wow, I know I still can take good care of myself, and then look good, feel good, and that's equally important.
That's right. Do you ever experience guilt about not spending enough time with your son due to work commitments, and how do you normally manage all these feelings?
At the time where I had that mental panic, I wouldn't say breakdown, I haven't reached to that breakdown stage yet. I was just thinking I was so afraid that my son would not know that I'm the mom.
I remember you telling me that.
I'm just what if I'm always at work? Will my son know that I'm his mom? Or just another person, some auntie or sister walking around the house? Or will he actually come to me? I think the biggest fear or mom guilt that I have is not spending enough time with him. And how much time is enough? I actually did a lot of readings and research. I'm at which age do they really form attachment with somebody? Then what if they attach with this person? Will they be able to attach with someone else? So I just keep having this. I also mentioned I have a really good helper, but what if he spends too much time with my helper and he forms an attachment with my helper, and then I start to feel these negative feelings coming out. And then no, okay, then I stay at home. I want to do the feeding. I want to do then I realize I'm going in a very unhealthy route. Yeah. So then I realized that what you said, always look on the bright side, right? Like it's good that my helper likes my son. It's good that my helper is such a great help. I feel safe when she's with my son or with my dogs. Like I don't ever have to worry about anything. And that is what I want. Do I want to have a helper that I don't trust? Do I want to have a helper that is not good with kids? No. So this is a positive thing to have, and I just need to make sure that I do my part. So when I interact with him, I don't like watch TV and then holding him and watching TV and then not paying attention to him. So that what you said, what I said just now, like just 100% focus. And then when I'm at work, I try to focus at work so that I can be more efficient.
And I remember I also shared that I shared with you that actually like because my mom takes a lot of time to take care of my son, because my son would say that he wants my mom. He misses like my mom. So I'll feel jealous. I mean, jealous is the word, right? I do feel jealous, but on the other hand, like what I shared with you is that thinking on the bright side is actually my son's fortune to be able to get love out not only from his parents but also from his grandparents, your helper and people around him, to let him experience different kind of love. And that's important. And also that is his fortune, but not every child gets to experience different kind of love. I think ultimately, again, we need to be comfortable on what we want, and then what kind of time we can segment out for our child, and at the same time for our work, and then find a balance inside. I would say it would never be a 50-50, never like a balanced kind of arrangement. So like right now, since you're like 2 days back at work per week, right? Have you is this like one of your greatest sacrifice that you have ever made? Like not being in like work zone, or are there like any major so-called adjustments that you need to make in your in your business or in your career or your day-to-day role for your newborn child?
Actually, to be honest, right, I am quite a planner. So before I even knew that I was pregnant, I already planned or trained the team in such a way that they can make decisions without me as much as possible. So I start to go on holidays, like 2 weeks, and then during my holiday I try not to have catch-ups with them. Before I leave, of course I do hand over and make sure that but then for that 2 weeks I try to zone out as much as possible. Then it becomes 3 weeks. Then it becomes 1 month.
I know you shared that. Wow. That's something I can never do.
So then I keep thinking like, okay, if I ever want to do maternity, right, then I need to get to the point where my team is confident to make decisions without me and feel empowered. That the more they understand my mindset or like how our thought process is, I think that really helps. We can, of course, set expectations like ABC, you have to give me a heads up. Don't need to wait for me to give you a green light, but at least you must let me know. So I can stop it, or like I can, remind you like, hey, there's certain things that you might need to pay attention to. But don't forget to let me know. So I think having good communication with the team. So I would say very luckily, I didn't feel like I had to sacrifice at work. But having the perspective now of being a mom as a business owner is so valuable, because I have a team that is like 98% female. And in the past, we do have employees on my team that have become pregnant and then they become moms. We have always had the mindset that, okay, we will support you no matter what. If you want more flexible work arrangement and if your work allows, we will try our best to move around for you. Or like if you are working in the store, right, and you need a place to pump, can we find a comfortable space for you? Can we try to shift your schedule a little bit so that you are able to come at a time that suits you the best? Like instead of the fixed shift time, maybe you can come a bit later. That's or nice. Only for the morning shift, because moms after a certain time have to put the kid to sleep and all that. So that was pre being a mom, but now after having that perception, that perspective of being a mom, I think it's so valuable for me to understand, like when another teammate gets pregnant and she's going through probably similar experience, then I think that she might need to make some sacrifice for her career or for her job, because I have the luxury of deciding exactly what time I go to work and what time I get off work. I work on the weekends also, so like I have flexible working from the very first day until now. And no one else I don't report to anybody. So as long as the end of the year the result is good, then the P&L is my scorecard, you know. So like as long as I score well, then I'm like nobody's gonna say. I have a very flexible work arrangement and I'm very lucky to do that. But I think having that perspective now, I can understand for my teammates that they are worried. What if their work cannot work from home? What if they have fear of asking their boss or their manager for more time off, or like, can I come in to work a bit later, or come in work earlier so that I can leave later? Just having that perspective then makes you more understanding. And
definitely.
Then, so I think in terms of sacrifice, not so much for me. And my husband also helps me out a lot.
Right.
Yeah, so I would say for my team.
Yes. Yeah, because I remember the last time when we chat, you're telling me that you go for such a long holiday. I'm like, wow.
I still got work in the background. I stopped doing catch-ups. I stopped doing like email, but I think maybe a few days longer. They know that, if they ask me, I'll get answer immediately. So then I don't check out. I don't have a break also.
Good that you have like this whole thing that's like planned. Like for me when I'm on holiday, sometimes I feel that I'm on a FOMO mode. Like, okay, what's happening? How is this visual going to look like? Oh no, will it be good? You know, I will be like, probably talking to myself, thinking about all these things, like behind the scenes.
You're always working like 100%.
Yeah, correct. Back end, so you're thinking, okay, later when I reach back to my Airbnb, okay, at 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I'm going to look into this, must like bookmark in my mind, and then I know I won't forget. That kind of thing. Yes. But that's me. I got FOMO at work. Maybe because I feel like the brand is also like my baby, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to let go, but sometimes you also know that you're also worried that this isn't the outcome that you're looking for. And that's why you still want to be there to ensure that things that is on track. I think that is still like a work in progress for myself.
No, I mean that if that's what makes you happy, then I think you should do it, because it gives you joy, right? Like you thrive at work and then you see the result, it gives you a kick of it, and then you want to do it again, you want to improve, and then it makes an impact, and then
the kick is like a drug,
Some entrepreneurs are like that, but also some entrepreneurs are like the Tim Ferriss, like 4-hour work week, where like I just want to work 4 hours and I want to work like in another country, and then my team
digital
is just
nomads.
doing everything at the background. So I think it's finding a balance, like also being an entrepreneur, like deciding what
type of entrepreneurship
and
what works best.
It doesn't mean that you work late and you work on weekends, means like you look very hardworking, means your business doing very well, and like you're always busy. I think it's image fallacy, because if you are also drained and you're not rested, then you can't have good ideas. I think it's a balance.
Yeah, definitely. We have what stage the company is, the business is, but don't micromanage, that kind of thing. Then things can still work out.
There are certain things that you should still micromanage, like product quality.
Yes, of
your
course.
customers' feedback. You want, even if the smallest complaint, you want to look into it, and it's not wrong. It's your baby, like you say.
So lastly, right, what are some of the advice that you want to offer to new moms who are trying to balance their professional ambition with their responsibilities at home?
There's a time for everything. You can have it all, but maybe not all at the same time. So that's what I resonated with. I read about this, or like I saw someone said this once, and it really stuck to me. As career women, or like even you're working for a company, there are certain goals that you want to reach. There's certain like timeline, but the timeline is set by yourself. 30 you want to be a manager, or before 30 you want to earn a certain amount of money. But time to rest, you should rest. You should listen to
yourself, your
thoughts,
body.
your body better.
I
find very helpful is like when I spiral into a negativity, I try to take myself out of that mindset, and then I look at myself from outside, and then I judge myself like, why are you thinking like that? Like I start digging into like, why am I having those thoughts? Then the moment I feel like, okay, I'm feeling this way because, and I can fill out the blanks, then I can better understand how to solve or try to find ways to like, should I do self-care? to just relax? Or am I just too tired? Should I just take a nap? Maybe I just go to a cafe with my husband. Sometimes just me and my husband and my dogs. Then we just leave the baby at home. And then 2 hours, I feel so
rejuvenated.
Yes.
So refreshed.
Just doing something different also, and not being at home all the time. It's not a problem to solve.
Yeah, I think especially also in especially we are in this part of the world in Singapore, I think there's a lot of expectations that we have on ourselves, that we want to achieve certain things at certain age, or at certain time we need to achieve certain things. I think that pressure subconsciously at the back of our mind give us a lot of mental stress. That's where it goes out of control.
So thank you for the advice, Trixie. But now that we are out of the woods, there's something that we have been very, very curious about. Can you share a little on how you started buying only?
How old is Bai only, by the way?
This year is 15 years.
Wow.
Your child is in secondary school.
Going to be a teenager.
Yeah.
So maybe my older child, which is my brand, can start to be more independent. I started when I was in school. I think I was 19 or 20 when I started the brand. I was already crafting, and it was a hobby that turned into like a business. I had a lot of like jewelry that I needed to like sell it to make more. I was self-taught, so I didn't have any design background. Trying to figure out, it was a hobby, making bracelets, necklaces. I think at the time was blog. Selling on blogs and live journal and all that. So we did that because it was free, just take picture and then just post, and then you do bank transfer. I think e-commerce was not really like a really big thing, and people were still wary about transferring money to someone else, or like
will it be a scam? Is it real?
People were still buying more at the stores and so on. So I think it was that time when I was starting out. When I was in uni, I did it part-time. So when I graduated, I thought, why not do it for 1 year? Like, take it as a gap year. My gap year is to do this project like to see if I tried for a year, will it work out? I just never looked back since. So I never really had a full-time job, to be honest. I did a lot of part-time gigs when I was studying, also when I was doing the brand. But I do, on hindsight, realize that actually I should have worked a couple of years to get some experience, even just understanding how the HR works, or like how people interview me. I never went for a formal interview before. Now I interview a lot of people. I have a HR department now. When I first started, like, it was just me. I would just Google what kind of questions I should ask. As we grew, then I realized that actually all these things we should have done so much earlier. So that's how I started.
So now fast forward, now that your child is 15 years old, right? What can we viewers like look forward to your brand?
We're always looking to open more stores. So if you have a space you think we should be in, or like in a mall that's near your place that you really, really think will suit us, please let us know. I think we are always growing organically, and we don't really have like, I want to reach 100 million by this amount of time. I think it's when the opportunity is right, we take it. When it's not, we don't, and we grow in a more organic way. Because I'm really afraid that the quality of the products, the customer service at the store is sacrificed. So that is 2 things that I will not sacrifice those things for the sake of growth. So that is something that also is my challenge as we scale. My team also wants to work for a brand that is always growing. But we have to balance whether the team can take the challenge and handle, is it too overwhelming? Because the quality of the work is not great. Everyone is overworked, overexhausted. I think that is not really a great place that I want to be in as well. What to look forward to? Expanding overseas is something we really want to work on this year and next year. Maybe some pop-ups next year overseas. Just trying to explore. I think trying to learn from you about expanding overseas. She also gave me some advice on just do. You said, right? Sometimes you think like you should do it this way, but we should just try and explore different areas.
That's really, really true. We really cannot stop learning, cannot stop hustling. Deep down, I think we are just really, really hard workers. And we really want like success. That's why not a lot of people can work well with me. Putting this on record. I'm a true workaholic. To end off, right? It's because I think what we personally want to achieve in our life, and of course in our career, like you say, right, the team will only wants to continue working with the brand that is constantly growing, seeking new challenges, and helping them level up something that they couldn't achieve on their own or in their previous company. I think that is important. And sometimes
they have space to progress as well.
yes, there's space to progress. First started, you are just yourself, just like me. As we grow, sometimes when I think about it, the scary part is that we are also responsible for our employees' life, their family. If the brand don't progress, the brand is not doing well, then it also means that this group of people will be affected. I think that is also a kind of pressure that I feel a lot. I mean, these are things that we don't really share on record. That kind of pressure sometimes is scary because when we look at our P&L, I'm like, oh wow, you know, know because the numbers are there. You know that this will work or it wouldn't work, and then you will keep thinking, okay, next month what should we be doing, or next year what kind of numbers we are looking. If we achieve these kind of numbers, what we can actually give back to our team. I think that is sort of like the pressure that I'm in right now.
Same.
Do you feel so?
Because we do a monthly P&L. So every month is like a scorecard come out. If it's red, then like my husband will go investigate why is it red, why is it red. Sometimes also understanding that sharing with the team when you're not doing well, it also
dampens the morale.
Firstly, we don't want to demoralize anybody, but at the same time, the team is part of the structure. I think when everyone works together to solve a problem together, we make beautiful things together. I always believe team is like a group of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. You have to trust the team at the end of the day. Trust only can be built with communications. You shouldn't be like, oh, everything is good, everything is a bit of roses. But as a manager, you have to humanize yourself and say like, hey, this week I really cannot. I feel very sick. So sometimes when I'm not well, last week I was not well, I still try to go to work. I still try to put on a brave face because I need to be there for a new teammate or something like that. Then after that, when I went home, I realized that, I'm not setting a good example. I should be resting. Then I feel guilty as well. It can be a difficult journey. I feel sharing sometimes with your team, like your challenges, which is not always popular. We always want to be like,
of course, showing the good side of things. I do agree that, sometimes when we share that, that launch isn't doing that well.
We need to do this much better.
Yeah, we need to do this much better. And then manifesting it, that it's possible and then it's achievable. And when we are able to achieve that as a team, right, we feel that, wow, we can conquer this. It's like unbelievable. And then we also feel good. Not only I think as the managers we feel good, but the whole team itself, the morale is like lifted. Boosted and lifted up. And it also makes them feel that, wow, actually I can do this too. This is not just a dream.
Oh my god, that was so hard, but I did it. We did it together. And I think only through like hardship you will grow. So if you shelter someone from the team too much, then it's always a bit of roses. That person will also it's not challenging here. Like I'm not growing. Then they might leave.
That's why we always say that a true AME staff will only get its true AME badge only when they've been through 11/11. Because that is the most grueling time of the year. And if you can do that with us, okay, you get the badge.
Officially confirmed.
Yes.
Officially become like
correct. Because those are really grueling. Like we really work like how many hours? So about 12 hours.
Almost like from 9 till night, that kind, 9 a.m. all the way.
Sometimes you do until midnight. They have to churn out the orders.
Then it means that you all are doing well.
Slowly. Yeah, one step at a time. Okay. Anything else more that you want to share, Trixie? Like we've talked so much. Enjoy motherhood.
Yes. Don't get pressured to have a second or third one.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Unless you really want it. Having a child, it makes me realize that the reason why you want to have the child is very important. If you have the child always for someone else's happiness,
you won't feel happy.
Imagine you are doing it for someone else, like, oh my god, you will regret that decision, or it will be even more difficult. I think like what you said, social stigma. Don't keep thinking like you have to have a child to be whole as a family. If you don't have a child, it's not that you won't be happy as well. Before having a child, please have conversation with your partner.
Are we ready for this, I would say in our era, right? People say you are one. No, you must faster get the second one. Because your first child will be so lonely. People keep telling me that, and then now your child is still so young, you should get the second one so that it's easier to bring up.
They can grow up together. They can play together.
I think like my relatives are like every year, every time I see them Chinese New Year, they'll say the same thing to me.
My mom already told me like second one, hopefully it's a girl, then can accompany Charlie. Like, I just came out from the hospital. Being a first child and then having a younger brother, I realized that the child never asks. So you have a second or third so that they will keep each other company, or for the sake of the first child or the second child. It's really
not really a very valid reason.
Your child never asks. And I feel that because I had a sibling, my childhood was cut short. I immediately have to be the older sister. Then suddenly my parents focus is on this new baby. So I never blame my brother, and it's not his fault, but I felt like I was forced to grow up faster, although I was already 8 or 9 years old.
That's a very different perspective.
I will never try to subject my child to that. I must really want the second child. Then I will tell my first child like, let's try to work this together. I know it's not what you want. I hope you will be on board. Rather than I'm having a second child for you, because they might not get along.
That's very true. Not all siblings get along with each other.
But that's a whole new other chapter, I think.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Trixie. I think so many of our viewers will be very inspired and empowered by your sharing.
Thank you
so much for coming also.
Yes, and then we hope that this episode helped create a safe and open space for women to explore and discuss the taboo of being a caregiver for the child. So remember, every mother's journey is unique, and being a super mom is about embracing all the roles you play with love and confidence. So once again, thank you Trixie for joining us today. And today we'll see you on our 10th episode.